Why do so many people feel lost in their 20s? You may have goals. You may have dreams. You may even know exactly what kind of life you want someday. But, right now, you don't know what you're supposed to do next. You look around and everyone seems to be moving. Someone is getting a good job. Someone is making money. Someone is starting a business. Someone is traveling. Someone is getting married. Someone seems to have their entire life figured out. And then you look at yourself and wonder, what am I doing with my life? If you've ever felt this way, understand something before we go any further. You are not necessarily behind. You may simply be in a stage of life where you're still figuring yourself out. And there's something about your 20s that nobody tells you clearly enough. You're not supposed to have everything figured out yet. 1. You're surrounded by other people's results. One reason your 20s can feel confusing is that you're constantly seeing the results of other people's lives. Social media makes it look like everyone is moving forward. You see achievements, you see money, you see beautiful lifestyles, you see people celebrating their success, but you don't see their uncertainty. You don't see their failures. You don't see the years they spent trying different things. You don't see what happens when the camera is turned off. So you compare your behind the scenes with somebody else's highlight reel, and naturally, you feel behind. But someone's success doesn't tell you anything about your own timeline. Your life isn't a race against people your age. There is no universal schedule that says, at this age you must have this, at that age you must achieve that. Life doesn't work that neatly. Some people discover their direction early, others need more time. Some succeed quickly, others build slowly. What matters is not whether you're moving at the same speed as everyone else. What matters is whether you're moving in the right direction for you. 2. You're expected to choose a future before you know yourself. Think about how strange your 20s really are. You, quote, expected to make serious decisions about your future while you're still discovering who you are. You're asked, what career do you want? Where do you want to live? What do you want to achieve? What kind of person do you want to become? But how can you know all of that when you're still learning about yourself? You may choose something and later realize it isn't right for you. You may start a career and discover you want something completely different. You may have a dream at 21 and lose interest in it at 25. That's not failure. That's information. Every experience teaches you something about what fits you and what doesn't. So don't be terrified of changing direction. Sometimes changing direction is exactly how you find the right one. You don't need the final answer. You need the courage to take the next step. 3. Stop expecting clarity before action. A lot of people are waiting to feel completely certain before they begin. They think, once I know exactly what I want, I'll start. But often, it works the other way around. You act first, then you learn, then you understand yourself better, then you adjust. Clarity often comes after movement, not before it. You won't always know whether something is right until you actually try it. So if you're confused about your career, learn something. If you're unsure about your interests, explore them. If you have an idea, test it. If you want to develop a skill, start practicing. You don't need to make a perfect decision. You need to make a useful one. Because standing still and thinking about every possible future will not create clarity. Experience will. 4. Your 20s are for building, not proving. This is one of the biggest lessons you need to understand. Your 20s are not necessarily the time when you should already look successful. They're the years when you should build the foundation for success. Build your skills, build your character, build your health, build your discipline, build your knowledge, build your relationships, build your financial understanding, build your confidence, and most importantly, build the ability to trust yourself. Don't become obsessed with looking successful before you've actually built something meaningful. You don't need to impress people. You need to improve yourself. Because there is a big difference between looking successful and becoming capable. Someone may look successful today, but if they haven't developed discipline, skills, character, or stability, the appearance doesn't mean much. Focus on what lasts. Build quietly. 5. You will outgrow people. Another reason your 20s can feel strange is that your relationships may change. People you thought would always be around may slowly disappear from your life. Friendships can change. What happened to us? Sometimes nothing terrible happened. You simply grew in different directions. Not everyone is meant to stay for every chapter of your life. Some people are part of your childhood. Some are part of your early adulthood. Some stay for decades. And some are only there long enough to teach you something. Don't force every relationship to remain exactly as it was. Let people grow. Let yourself grow. Outgrowing someone doesn't always mean you stopped caring about them. Sometimes it simply means your life is changing. 6. You don't need to have money figured out immediately. Money can create enormous pressure in your 20s. You see people buying expensive things. You see businesses succeeding. You see people talking about investments and financial freedom, and you start wondering, why am I not there yet? Instead of obsessing over looking wealthy, learn how money actually works. Learn to earn, learn to save, learn to budget, learn valuable skills, learn how to avoid unnecessary debt, learn how to make better financial decisions. You don't need to become rich overnight. You need to become financially wiser over time. A strong financial future isn't built by trying to impress people. It's built through consistent decisions that may not look exciting from the outside. Your goal isn't to look rich. Your goal is to become financially capable. 7. Failure in your 20s is not the end. You're going to make mistakes. Some decisions will be wrong. Some opportunities won't work. Some relationships won't last. Some plans will fail. And you may feel embarrassed when they do. But don't let one failure become an identity. You didn't fail as a person. Something you tried didn't work. There's a difference. Take the lesson. Change your approach. Try again. Your 20s give you something incredibly valuable. Time to learn. Use it. Don. Quote, waste years trying to protect yourself from every possible failure. You will learn more from doing something imperfectly than from endlessly thinking about doing it. 8. Stop waiting for your life to begin. Sometimes people think, once I get the right job, I'll be happy. Once I make enough money, I'll relax. Once I find the right person, I'll feel complete. Once everything is settled, I'll finally start living. But life doesn't suddenly begin when everything becomes perfect. Your life is happening right now. So don't spend your 20s waiting for some future version of yourself to finally become worthy of enjoying life. Work toward your goals, but appreciate where you are while you're building. You can want more without hating what you have. You can be ambitious without constantly feeling inadequate. Progress and gratitude can exist together. 9. Your biggest problem may be distraction. Sometimes you're not actually lost. You're simply distracted. You spend hours consuming other people's opinions. You constantly switch between goals. You scroll whenever you're bored. You compare yourself. You think about what everyone else is doing, and then you wonder why you can't hear your own thoughts. Your mind needs space. You don't need to disappear from the world, but you do need moments where you aren't constantly consuming something. Give yourself time to think. Decide what matters to you. Choose a few priorities, and give them your attention. You cannot build a clear life with a constantly distracted mind. 10. You are allowed to start again. Maybe you've already wasted time. Maybe you chose the wrong path. Maybe you spent years doing things that didn't move you forward. Maybe you feel like you should have started earlier. Okay, you can't change that, but you can change what happens next. You don't need to punish yourself for yesterday. Learn from it. Start again, and this time, start with more awareness. You are not required to have a perfect past to create a better future. You are allowed to begin again at any point. The truth. Nobody tells you your 20s can feel confusing, because you're standing between two versions of yourself. You're no longer the person you used to be. But you're not yet the person you're becoming, and that middle stage can feel uncomfortable. You may question yourself. You may change your mind. You may feel behind. You may lose people. You may fail. You may have days when you have absolutely no idea what you're doing, but none of that automatically means you're failing at life. You're learning how to live it. So stop demanding certainty from yourself. You don't need to know where you'll be at 30. You don't need a 5-year plan that never changes. You don't need to compete with everyone around you. You need to understand yourself. Develop useful skills. Take care of your body. Protect your mind. Choose your relationships carefully. Learn how money works. Build discipline. And keep moving, one step at a time. Epic ending. One day, you may look back at your 20s and realize something. You were never supposed to have everything figured out. You were supposed to figure yourself out. You were supposed to try, to fail, to learn, to change, to start again, to discover what matters, to become stronger. So if you're in your 20s and you feel lost right now, don't panic. You are not late. You are not finished. You are not behind simply because your journey looks different. You are still becoming. And perhaps the most important thing you can do right now isn't finding the perfect direction. It's taking the next honest step. Learn something, build something, improve something, fix something, try something, and then do it again tomorrow. Because you don't need to see the entire road to move forward. You only need enough courage to take the next step. Your 20s aren't about proving to the world that you've already made it. They're about becoming the person who eventually will. So don't waste these years trying to look successful. Use them to become capable. Don't waste them comparing your timeline. Use them to build your own. Don't waste them waiting for certainty. Use them to explore. Don't waste them fearing failure. Use every mistake as information. And don't waste your life asking whether you're behind. Ask a better question. Am I becoming better than I was yesterday? If the answer is yes, keep going. You're not lost. You're still becoming.